Jose, would you mind shutting that door? You can have it nice and silent. Thank you much. Okay. 3 numbers. GCF means greatest common factor. LCM, least common multiple, right? But we got 3 numbers now. So let's try something new. I'm going to show you the easiest way to find the GCF and the LCM. I'm going to write it a little bit bigger here. Even easier than yesterday. And this works when you have many terms, like this one. So, you remember what prime factorization means? It means you're going to break 30 down, for example, into a product of primes. So you're going to break 30 down into a product of primes. So let's do a factor tree. Give me 2 numbers that multiply to give me 30. 6 and 5, right? Is 6 prime? It's not prime. How does 6 break down? 3 and 2. So let's circle all of our prime numbers. 3, 2, and 5. So we got those. Same thing with 25. How does 25 break down? Prime factorization. 5, 5, right? You see where we're going with this? All right. It's going to be nice. Guaranteed to like it even more than yesterday. 10? 2 and 5, right? Those are prime. 2 and 5. Pop. Boop. Boop. Okay. I want you to listen, okay? First step, actually I already have it written over there. What does it say to do? Step 1. Prime factor, right? On the board over there, it says find the prime factors, right? Step 1, ding, 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 ding. Prime factors, right? Prime factors. Second step says what? Write with exponents. So, ding, ding, ding. It says write with exponents. Exponents. And then step 3 says, say it again. Yeah, there's 2 steps, right? For GCF, what are we going to do? Choose, let's see, GCF? Choose lowest. Right. LCM, choose highest. Here's the trick though, okay? Tell me all the different numbers you see that are circled. 2, 3, and 5, right? All of these need to have in their prime factorization a 2, a 3, and a 5. So, what's the power of the 2 for 30? It's 2 to the power of 1 times people, it's circled. Come on. 3 to the power of 1 times 5 to the power of 1. That has 2, 3, and 5 in it, right? Okay, now let's look at 25. I need to have a 2, a 3, and a 5. What's my power on my 5? I have 2 of them, right? What do you think my power has to be on my 3? Has to be 0. Let's stay focused. Has to be a power of 0. How come? Say it again. Well, there's not even a 3, right? There's not even a 3. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. That's why we're going to do this. 2 to the power of 0 as well. All right. The last one. What are we going to put? 10. We're going to write it as 2 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 0, and 5 to the power of 1. Okay. Did we do step 1? Did we do step 2, right, with exponents? Step 3. Let's find the GCF. Well, what does it say to do? Choose the lowest power. Look at each one. Looking at those 3, what's the lowest power of 2? Lowest power of 2. 2 to the power of 0. Look. You see it? Do you agree that the lowest one is 2 to the power of 0? Yeah, 2 to the power of 0. For 3, what's the lowest power of 3? 0, right? So times 3 to the power of 0. What's the lowest power of 5? 5 to the power of 1, which is right there. What's that equal to? 5. Isn't that nice? Isn't it? It's the power of primes. Primes are really useful. All right, LCM. Watch how easy the LCM is now. LCM. Hey guys, stay focused with me, okay? This is new. Instead of choosing the lowest powers, we need to choose the highest powers. What's the highest power of 2 in all of these? 2 to the power of 1. What's the highest power of 3? What's the highest power of 5? I have a 1, I have a 2, and I have a 1, so it means 5 to the power of 2. So let's find out, what is that? 2 times 3 is? Times 5 squared. 6 times 25? 150. Another way you could have done it is 25 times 2 is 50, times 3 is 150. That's the least common multiple. That's the smallest number that all of those are going to go into. That's the smallest number that all of those are going to go into. 30, 25, and 10. The first number that you'll get to that all of them go into is 150. How are we doing with that? Okay, want to try another one? Yep. All right. So you don't need a calculator out right now, so don't need you punching away. Why don't you give it a try? Try doing the prime factorization first. Try doing the prime factorization first. All right, that just means break it down into primes.
So what was that answer to double again?
GCF is 5. LCM is 1. Okay. I'm going to rewrite these. 28, 14, 21. Okay. First step is to factor them into primes, right? Let's factor them into primes. So let's see. Help me out. What did you come up with for 28? This one is 7 times 4, but is 4 a prime? So we should write 4 as 2 to the power of 2. So 28 is 7 times 2 squared. 14 is just 7 times 2. 21 is just, Samantha, you staying with us? Yep. 7 times 3. I'm going to write all the powers on them so I know. 7 to the power of 1, 7 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 1, 7 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 1. Okay, that was step 1, prime factorization. Step 2 is what?
Multiply the lowest exponents. Oh, wait, to find the greatest common factor.
So, well, let's see. Prime factorization, we did that. Did we write with exponents? We did that, right? So now, we're going to try and find this greatest common factor. But, is there anything missing from any of these? How many different numbers do you see?
Well, we're missing a 3 to the power.
Right, so on this first one, what am I missing? I'm asking everybody, right? What are the 3 different numbers you see for primes? There are 3 different ones. 7, 2, and 3, right? So all of these need 7, 2, and 3 in them, right? So what does 3 have to be to the power of on this one? 0. What does 3 have to be to the power of on this one? 0. And what am I missing on this one? 2 to the power of 0, right? Agreed? Okay, now we did step 2. Now we can move on to step 3. Step 3 says if I want the GCF, Samantha, help me out. If I want the GCF, how do I find it? Nope, just look at the board. I have it written down for you. Right there, step 3. There you go. So, help me out. I want to know what are the lowest powers, so you help me out. Help me find them. Okay, so we're going to look in each batch of numbers. Okay? Look in each one. What are the different numbers that you see? The different prime numbers. Okay, so I'm going to write a 2, a 3, and a 7. And now what do I need to choose? The lowest powers. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's find the lowest power of 2 in these 3. What is the lowest power of 2? 0, right? If you look up there, the lowest one is 0. So 2 to the power of 0. What about for 3? What's the lowest power of 3? 0. What about 7? 7 is the lowest power is 1. So my GCF is just 7, right? There you go. Does that make a little more sense? Okay, so help me out then, somebody with, Cal, want to try it? Least common multiple? All you got to do is tell me what we're trying to find. Right, but what does it say to do for step 3, for the least common multiple? Powers, right? Okay, so let's write down our 3 different primes. Again, the 3 that we have are what? 2, 3, and 7. Okay, so tell me. You can do this, right? What's the highest power of 2 in these 3? In this batch of numbers, what's the highest power of 2? 2, right? So 2 to the power of 2. What's the highest power of 3? 1, right there. So 3 to the power of 1. What's the highest power of 7? Let's see, I got a 1, and a 1. Yep. So let's find out what that number equals. 4 times 3 is 12 times 7, 84. So we're going to be using this a lot when we go into chapter 6. So that's why we're really working at it. All right. So let's try one instead of just with numbers. We got to also be able to do it with variables, right? But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay. You want to take a shot at it before I go through them? No. No idea? Somebody's got to have a clue, an idea,
Nope.
a guess. How do you think I should start? The same way, right? There's a guess. I like that. 20ab cubed. So you should make this little 3-column chart. 16b to the 4th. All right. So Christian, help me out. What was my first step? Prime factors. All of you could tell me, if you think about it for a second, how do I break down 28 into a product of primes? 4 times 7, there's a start, but it's 4 prime. So we need to write 4 as 2 squared, right? So 28 is 7 times 2 squared. What about my b squared? What do I do with that?
A times B.
It's just b squared. Yeah, you want to collect them. You want to collect them. So we're just going to leave it as b squared, right? If you look at any of these other ones, do you see any other variables that we're going to have to include? I want you to look at the other pieces in these columns. Are there any other variables that we need to put to the power of 0? A, right? Look, here's an A right here. Aren't we going to need an A? So let's just save ourselves some times and do it right now. A to the power of 0. All right, let's work with 20 then. Selena, help me out. How do I break down 20?
2 times 5.
2 times 5. So that would give me 10.
Oh, 20.
Almost. Yep. You
10
got it.
times 2.
10 times 2. And now, so we got 10 times 2. 10 times 2. So how do I break up 10? Because I can break up 10.
Divided.
5 times.
2.
So I have 2 times 5 times 2. Right? That gives me 20. So 20 is the same thing as 2 squared times 5. Right? Just like you said. You said 2 times 10. So 2 times 2 times 5. Yep. What about my A? Do I need to break that up, or is that fine?
Fine.
It's fine. It's just A to the power of 1. Mm-hmm. We okay? Okay. And my B, which is to the 3rd, do I need to do anything to that, or just leave it?
Keep it.
You're just going to keep it cubed, right? Okay, now look backwards. Is there any number that I didn't include that I need to? Which number am I missing? I need a 7 to the power of. If you look right here, I have a 7. So that tells me I need a 7 over here. So I'm going to do times 7 to the power of 0. Are we good with that? All right, so help me out, Mr. Jose. Help me out with 16. Break that up for me. Not quite. It's 4 squared, but 4 is not prime, right? 2 to the power of
4.
2 squared times 2 squared, which is 2 to the power of 4. So 16 is 2 to the 4th. Are there any other numbers that we need to write? Caesar? What do you think? Are there any other numbers that we need?
No. B.
Well, that's true, we need B, but what about the numbers? I told you. What do you think, Elizabeth? Yep. We need a 5 to the power of 0 and a 7 to the power of 0. And then my B, or do I need an A too? A to the power of 0. And then I need a B to the power of 4. Do you see that? And look, I color-coded it for you. All the ones that I threw in that are new are blue. All the ones that came from that are in red.
Isn't that the 120 feet of the third, or
No. Which one? Right.
first one?
First one? Whoops.
5 to the power of 0 also.
Oh, no, good call. Yep, good catch, Miss Mountain. What am I missing if we look back now? What am I missing? I have a 7, a 2, and what am I missing?
5.
So I need to have a 5 to the power of 0. Thank you, Miss Mountain. 5 to the power of 0, and I should do that one in blue. Okay, can we do this now? Wait, we're not done. I'm not done. GCF. This is the fun and easy part, I'm telling you. Look at this. I did step 1, I did step 2. Step 3 is GCF. What do I need to do? Lowest powers, right? So what are all the different terms I need? I need 2. What else? Help me out. 5, 7, and then A and B, right? So now let's put all the powers on them. I'm picking the lowest power. So, help me out, Milana. Lowest power for my 2. What is that? Lowest power of 2 was definitely 2 to the power of 2. Nice. What about for my 5s? Nice. 7s? 0. A? 0. B? 2. Yep. So what does that equal? 4B squared, right? Isn't that nice? Look at how beautiful that is. Yep.
Wouldn't it like just be easier just to do it the other way, where you just kind of like just take out the variables? Because I just did it like that way. It took like 5 seconds.
Yep. Sometimes it can be overkill, but I'm telling you, when you have giant numbers, so for example, if you have giant numbers and a lot of variables, if you break things down into primes, it's always going to be faster.
That makes sense.
I know this is kind of overkill. I know. LCM. I mean, because also if you look back up here, right? I could have looked at this for 1 second and said, what's this? What's the biggest number that goes into all 3 of those? 5. Yeah. So I agree. Sometimes it's overkill, but it's necessary. LCM. What are all the different terms that I'm going to put down there? Selena, help me out. It's all right here. Come on.
The least common multiple.
Yeah, but just tell me all the different terms.
I don't feel like don't ask me because I don't know what's going on.
I want to help you.
No. Oh my God. I don't know.
Miss Mountain's trying to help you.
Same terms again. And then from that point, you pick up the greatest. So
2, 5, 7.
There you go.
A, B.
There you go.
Really?
Yes.
Seriously?
That's it. 2, 5, 7, A, B. Thank you. All right. Now help me out. How about Dana? Help me out.
The highest
Yeah. We're doing the highest powers. You want to help me out? Okay, for 2, we need 2 to the power of 4. Yep. 5 to the power of 1. 7 to the power of. Is it 1? A to the power of 1. B to the power of 4. Look at that. That's beautiful. Look gorgeous, right? It is. All right. So 2 to the power of 4 is 16. Why don't we try and do this? 16 times 5 is 80. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. 80 times 7 is 560. So we get 560 A, B to the 4th. Do you want to see one more, or are we good? Want to do 4? Sure. Why don't you try 4, and I'm going to put the answer up here, and you can check your work, all right? Try 4. Give it a shot. I'll put the answer up here. I am hungry. just hurry on back. So I'm gonna still just calling people to help me out. What's 8 written as primes? 2 times 2 times 2, right? So that's 2 to the cube, right? 2 to the third. What other variable am I going to need besides my y? So I'm going to need an x to the 0, and I have a y to the first. So y to x. Good question. So, because remember the next step is going to be write the lowest powers from each one, right? Okay, so that's y. How about 16? 2 to the power of 4. Do I need an x? Yep. X to the 0. Y to the 1, right? 16, same thing, right? 2 to the 4th. X to the 1st. Y to the 1st. GCF. What is the lowest powers of 2, Samantha? 3, right? Thank you. 2 to the power of 3. What's the lowest power of x? Look at that. Lowest power of y? 1. So my GCF is 8y. Cool? All right. LCM. What are the 3 terms I need? 2, x, and y, right? I should make that y closer. For the least common multiple, I need the powers that are the highest, right? Highest power of 2 is, 4. Highest power of x is 1, Highest power of y, 1. There we go. 2 to the power of 4 is 16, x, y. Cool? All right. So, why don't you take the rest of the time, finish up that homework, and get it submitted on Schoology. What's that? Yeah, it's on there. It was the worksheet. It's underneath my red stapler.
The rest of the past.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, especially the one with the 3 terms now.
This one?
That's what happened.
Sure.
I wasn't here yesterday, so I saw the notes on Schoology, but it was like confusing to me,
Okay.
and I was wondering if I can get an example.
Sure. I mean, we just did it with 2, right? I mean, we just did it with 3.
So we both basically do the same thing for all of us.
Well, yep. So why don't you come on over? Come on over here. Here's 3. That's more difficult. If it was just with 2, I could just do it like that.
But how do we know if it's prime or not?
Prime. Prime numbers are ones that can only be divisible by themselves and 1. So, can any number whole numbers? Can any whole number go into 5? Can any whole number go into 6? 2 and 3, right? Is 10 a prime number?
Yeah.
Nope, because 5 and 2.
Oh, okay.
Is 7 a prime number? Yes, 7 and 1. That's it. Is 15 a prime number? No, because 5 and 3, right? Is 17 a prime number? It is, right? Is 11? Check. Is there any other? Is there 11 and 1? That's it, right? So you can see you can do it the same way, and you can
So
come.
just like split them on both of them.
Yeah, just like this, but instead of doing 3, you're just doing 2.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Might not be all, but it might not be because
Both sides, but you can share it.
Once you get it out.
and on the backside. See what it-
Yeah. Huh? 7 what? 7 what? 7 what? I'm not gonna, come on. Prime number means only things that can go into it are 1 in itself. Is there any other number that can go into 7? You sure? Anything else? There you go. You just answered your own question. Not 0. 0 is a multiple of 7, but 0 is not a divisor of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you divide 0 is 7.
No, if you divide by 0, it's undefined.
I mean, right now, I
Well,
did
by 7.
If you divide 0 by 7, yeah. But that means 7 divides 0.
Everything divides 0.
Right.
0 is like.
Yep.
It is not a prime number.
No.
Funny enough.
Neither is 1. 0, 1, we don't care about them.
Yeah, because they're just, yeah.
Am I doing this correctly?
Least common multiple. You need to take the highest one of each, right? 2, 3, 7. There you go. 6 times 7 is 42. And there's your answer.
This one on the inside is my own eyelids.
2, 5, 3. Least common multiple is 30. Check. Nice work.
It's like it's not dividing at all. That makes sense.
So, we call it undefined because it doesn't make sense to say that how many times can 0 go into 7? Think about it. 0 can go into 7 infinity times, right? Or you could say it doesn't go into it at all. So there's kind of like a contradiction. It can go into it no times, and it can go into it infinity times, and that's why it's undefined. Isn't that trippy? Well, there was one right there. That was the lesson today. And then there was one in the back underneath my red stapler, which is where you'll find the homework. So, let me see, what are you asking? Let me see. I can say from right here, the biggest number that's going to go on all of them is 2. So I know the GCF is 2. B, is that an A? Yep, BA is definitely the GCF. So you did 28 times 20 times 10,
16.
and you got 5600.
And again, it doesn't have the X, so we just put the X to
A
zero.
cubed,
But I want to pay for
because we have A times A times A. That's right. X cubed.
and minus one. So, you kind of have that is the lowest exponent. So it's here,
B squared, A squared. Something's wrong with that because because there should be no B and no A, and I'm sure there's going to be a smaller number that will work. So something's happening there that it doesn't work with 3 terms. Here's what you would have to do: is you have to do the process version 2, and then you get a result and do it with the other 2. Does that make sense? All right. That one would take longer. Okay.
So here then is 2 times 2 times 2.
So we're doing better?
About this class.
Thank you.
And then when you finish this, then you can
Anything new?
this one is 4.
You gotta watch out, man. Don't give them out. Don't give them out. You guys got any questions?
You can stop there.
So you need to take the lowest power of V. So what's the lowest power of V?
Because mom, they have like 7 phones, like they don't incorporate
V to the power of 0.
how to
Then you have 1, right? So no V.
it's like they have filters right within like one.
And let's see, 3 goes into 6 and 3 goes into 18. But is there a bigger number that goes into 6 and 18?
We don't have as many for all of those.
6. Yep. There you go. So let's make sure we're using those methods, because that way we'll never have any problems. Right? With 2 it's nice, because you can use that method that was A times B is GCF times LCM. You can use that,
That's like
or you can use that method that I just showed you, and you won't make any mistakes.
What do you think?
GCF is take the lowest one of each. Lowest one. Well, there's a 2 to the power of 1 here, but there's a 2 to the power of 0 here. So that means the lowest one is 2 to the power of 0. So that one is 1, yep. This would be 2 to the power of 0. So 5 to the power of 1 here, and then 5 to the power of 0 here. That is the lowest power. Yes. Does that make sense?
This one, the important thing to remember is that you want each one in all 3 areas. So you've got.
Well, my
Oh, to get the.
Yeah, it's like, what are we trying to get? Like, what are we trying to find exactly?
my mom.
Is this all what's based on?
Yeah, that's, yes, oh, I see what you're saying, right. We're trying to find this, and we're trying to get that, that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
so that's what we like.
Yeah. And just the lowest exponents in order, and L16. So I have to write it down each time, so I can look in my head. So, yeah, me too, that's what I do too. But, so, like this one, oh yeah, so 8 is 2 to the 3rd, that's 2 times 2 times 2, yep. And then you only have a y, but over here, you have an x, so you have to add the x to the 0 there. and it'll be important later.
Steven,
And
you
then
okay?
again, you only have the y, so you have to add the x to the 0 there. Yep, and then you have the x to the 1. So then, once you have it all lined up, then you know that you need 2, because you only have the 2, you need x, and you need those little
John, you doing okay?
because that's how it is. So
Any questions?
then I write it out like that. And then, okay, so rated GCF is the lowest in order. So here, we have 2 to the 3. We have
Try some more of these variable ones,
so what is the
because those
lowest?
are the hardest
2 to
ones,
the
and
3.
I'm not sure you try, and then I can check them
And
for you.
then lowest is x to the 0. Because here's my- and the lowest is 2 to the 1st. That's so this. To the 3 is 8 because it's 2 times 2 times 2. And x is 0, so that we have it there. And then divide it. Yep, and that's your final answer.
Jay, you doing okay?
And then in this, so you've got them laid out already, which you do, and then this one greatest one. So the greatest, you've got this one,